Welcome back to RGR Football. I'm Ryan. This is me going rogue on the Kansas City Chiefs, as well as the NFL, especially now that the playoffs are on. We have a great one for you, and today, it's not the normal film room. Normally, I'm recapping. We're looking at what happened. Now, this is a scouting film room. I'm looking ahead to the Cleveland Browns, what happened against the Steelers. I've looked through a number of games, and really this is the most pertinent. We're going to focus on that, even though it is the most recent two games for them. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like the thumbs up, the sub, as well as the bell notification so you know what comes next. Dan's going to have more film broken down for you tomorrow. We're going to do a game plan later in the week, and then we will have all the tailgate stuff from Danilo this weekend. So we're looking forward to it. There's a number of things, and if you missed yesterday, I did a bit of a preview that is focused on the fact that what Patrick Mahomes has to do is to really lead, to step this team forward because of what we saw from Ben Roethlisberger, and you'll see some of these here. The number of turnovers, and I didn't cover the Cleveland defense yesterday. It was really focused on the offensive stars yesterday. So if you missed it, go back and check that out. I'll try to link it here up in the cards. But it comes back to what the Browns were able to do on the defensive side of the ball, even though what we focused on yesterday was offense. And yes, the Browns defense was opportunistic. They got turnovers. They put out a good output for a team that has been really struggling from time to time, especially in the secondary. I thought they got good push from their defensive front. Larry Ogunjobi, I thought, was a presence all night long, not just the expectation of Myles Garrett, but Myles Garrett actually showed up, pushed the pocket. There were a number of problems, but there were also the fact that was the first quarter. It was exceptional. They got out to a giant lead, and that helps. But they had some breakdowns later that let the Steelers come back on them, and that's important to look at as well. And so what we need to see is the totality of that ball game, because we all know the Chiefs have been known to go down and have to come back themselves. So we're going to take a look today at some of those plays that allowed the Steelers to try to catch up. And that game ended up being closer than it probably should have in any way thought possible for anybody. Now we're going to start in a place that the Chiefs have had some trouble over the second half of the season in the red zone, scoring, especially in short yardage. And this is a play that I think really is going to illustrate very much a similar way that the Chiefs can go about this as well. It's going to look different. We'll see how it works out here in a minute. But what you'll notice that you can't see is that there's a receiver out here to the top that's off the screen. And then you have these guys down here. So what is effectively an 11 personnel with one tight end and one running back? That's fine. The Chiefs run out of this all the time. Whether Travis Kelce is motioned in here or motioned out doesn't really matter. What is going to happen as we roll this play forward is that the adjustments are taking advantage of what not only the Steelers do well, but what the Chiefs do well, and that is running to the edges, not trying to pound it right down the middle in the A and B gaps. And what you might have seen there is that this is a team in the Pittsburgh Steelers that is more, they're more power-based. And what you see right here is a pulling guard that is the definition of a power run scheme. He's going to kick out on the end. They will run outside zone, which the Chiefs run constantly. But they do have the ability to pull a guard and do this. The Chiefs have tried to do this from time to time and had some success with it. I won't say a great amount of success, but this is certainly an option for them. I think that especially in this kind of configuration, with the blocking of Kelce to be on the edge here, as you see this tight end come down, this is definitely something that they could get away with. It might be better just to run a straight pitch or the RPO option that we've seen Patrick run as well. And when we take a look at the backside, you'll see why, because it requires the guard to be a little bit more mobile than we've seen from Alec Reddy, who I assume right now is most likely to be the guy in here between Fish and Austin Ryder, who I do expect to start against the Cleveland Browns. And you'll see from the get-go, this is blocking down, coming in to try to meet this tackle. They're not going to bother blocking Myles Garrett. And what they're trying to do is send this guard down to kick out. Whether this guy comes upfield or whether he crashes down and this guy comes upfield, they have enough blockers at this point. The question mark is going to be the linebacker. And so as he comes across, what we've seen is the crashes come inside, the tight end takes the closest guy to the line of scrimmage, and now that leaves very little for this guard to do other than a DB here, because the linebacker has scraped and all of a sudden stopped, and Connor, who is not the most explosive guy, but he's certainly able to take advantage of this block up right here, hit the outside, and it's a saunter into the end zone. Now, that's not something that we've seen the Chiefs do a lot of. It's a pretty basic play, but it's definitely something that we could see them do because they have the tools. I think Allegretti can get out on that pole and do it some justice. I think they could actually do it with a tackle or even the center. Austin Ryder can do pulling. I just don't know that it's something that you want to set up. But the big difference is right here, the acceleration. That's something that Lev Bell has in his repertoire. We don't know about ZH. He was back at practice early this week, but we don't know if he's going to be ready. So in all likelihood, this is going to be Bell or Darrell. And I think this is something for Bell to try and hit the outside, especially from the far side alignment behind the offside tackle. I think this is something that he can do. And as long as they can get enough movement, he can get all the way out here. It shouldn't be an issue. It's something I think they need to look at. Now, here's a look that I think you could expect to see against the Chiefs because it plays into what the Chiefs should be expecting and allows them to actually move around a little bit. But I don't think this is something that the Cleveland Browns really want to get into because it didn't work out very well for them. What we see here is a nickel front with 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers. And whether it's a safety or a corner doesn't really matter because you have 6 DBs. And they're aligned. There's 1 DB off the side as well as a wide receiver that you can't see here. But they look mostly aligned according to where the wide receivers are. This is an empty set, something the Chiefs will use as well. And it looks like they have 2 high over the top. And whether it's because of rules of engagement here or what happens, as the play begins, we're going to see that change because at the snap, it looks like they're going to have 2 high halves of this field for these safeties. But right immediately at the snap, what you see, the linebackers are staying pretty much planted. They're dropping just a little bit, and it looks like it's going to be man up here. High, what we thought was going to go over here is actually going to be responsible for the whole field because this safety that was high is now coming down to take on this slot receiver. This is Connor out here, so he's got a one-on-one matchup. And what we thought might be a one-on-one man kind of thing is now just a middle zone as he doesn't even move as the slot receiver comes off of his start, 7-8 yards at this point. This is going to be a matchup here, and this is clearly something that they probably could have taken advantage of too, but the real money is up here because in switching, you've got this safety that's edging over this way because they tried to show two high safeties, and they're really just in a cover 1, where this guy has to cover a lot of ground, and you can see he's turned up this direction. This cornerback, DB, whatever it is zone turned. He's got an eye on the quarterback to know if he's going to get a hot route here, get into this tight end real fast or not. And as the play progresses, you see he's maintaining that outside leverage facing in. And while this safety has now turned to the correct direction to recognize this threat, he's still flat-footed here on the hash mark. And you can see, if this is Travis Kelce, not only is this cushion already gone, he's probably beyond him, but this is how the play progresses. And it's just a simple corner route. It's not that difficult. Eric Ebron is a good tight end, but he's not Travis Kelce. And it gets him a simple touchdown because what the safety wasn't able to do was get over the top to help. When we run it back, we take another look at this safety. And as the progression goes, it's a little late on recognition. This is what happens when you try to disguise cover 2, especially against the Chiefs, and stay in a cover 1 that really limits what you can do. Because again, this route is just about 1 as he starts to plant and drive to the inside and then back towards the pylon here. This safety is nowhere in recognition to have tried to come over and make help. Now, if that corner had gone outside to maintain outside leverage and they were trying to squeeze them, maybe that's an option route that comes back inside and the safety could be there. This is something that you might see them try to do in order to get better numbers. That's not something you want to do against the Chiefs. Now, this play is the complete opposite from what we just saw in that. As we take a look, this is about midfield. Again, 4-man front, 2 linebackers. But now they are showing mostly single high. He has turned a bit, so he's giving a little bit away. But this is going to turn into, as we progress, what is a 2 high concept? So they have the ability to guard the deep halves over here with man underneath, or at least what is an underneath zone. Now, I think they're going to have to change this. They may play 2 high safeties, but end up playing more of a cover 4 where they keep it in quarters or that kind of thing. But it depends on Ward, to tell you the truth. I think Denzel Ward is the piece that allows them to do some more interesting things. But two high safeties, I think, at the end of the day, is what they're going to have to do to try to combat Patrick Mahomes and the weapons that the Chiefs have. It doesn't work very well because while they're aligned all right in here, I believe this is Jacob Phillips, who was the other linebacker at LSU that you heard in the draft roundup, a guy that I really like, but inexperienced in terms of being able to adapt to the zones when he's dropping. And the slot receiver here does a great job of just splitting everything right down the middle. Ben delivers the ball where it should be. And this is the Mecole Hardman route. This is what you should see right here. As the ball's released, he's just gotten past the second level, and the safeties haven't been able to converge on him yet. This is the open part. And right here, you hit Mecole here, he might be able to stretch that to the house, especially because Patrick will hit him in stride rather than having to have him slow up. That's a big play, and that's another thing that they could see and use against the Browns. And this last one is a look that I really want to highlight because there's some familiar faces here. If you remember from the draft cycle, I was real high on Chase Claypool because I thought he could run out of the slot or he could come out wide, especially when he's creeped in here by the hash mark. This is Chase Claypool wrapped up one-on-one in what looks like a too-high shell. Again, something that they try to disguise. It's a smart defensive parameter to try to show one thing and do another, but they're too apt. I think they're too encouraged by their own ability to try and not just play it safe. And I think that's something that's going to be able to be taken advantage of by the Chiefs, because this wide receiver trio of Johnson and Juju and Chase Claypool, they're pretty formidable. If you remember me talking a week ago, I was concerned about the Chiefs defense having to play them. But, I mean, it's not Hardman, Hill, and Watkins, although Watkins looks like he was slow to practice this week. We'll see what ends up happening with him. But they're still formidable. And so if they're going to do this against them, it's going to be real hard for them to buck their trends and stay disciplined and stay too high and keep those safeties back there to guard against it, because what they let happen is what can easily happen with any of the Chiefs receivers, even Byron Pringle, is that they walk it down into a robber here where this safety is now responsible for the deep field, period. And this safety has come underneath, looking for those crossers, looking for, quite frankly, the route that we just saw and trying to take advantage of it here. And this allows a speedy guy like Chase Claypool, certainly like Tyreek, certainly like Mecole Hardman, certainly like Sammy Watkins, and most likely like Byron Pringle or Demarcus Robinson, who we saw run a similar route, which is just kind of a skinny post here, that allowed him to make a play just a week or two ago. And as it comes off, that's all he does is he bends it back in towards the post a little bit, and the ball's delivered well. The safety is not in position to get all the way back over there. It makes him look a little bit silly. Now, the other angle doesn't show us much, so one more time, taking a look at this. Watch the route by Claypool here. Just a little stick and back towards the middle. It is not a big post. It is a skinny post that allows them to stay away from the safety, something the Chiefs can do very, very well, and I think that they will. That's the big things here. There's opportunity for the Chiefs in the pass game. I think that it will definitely happen. I'm encouraged. I hope you are. If you're not yet, click the like and the sub and the bell notification. We'll have more for you tomorrow on the film front. We'll have more after that on the game plan as we get ready for the Chiefs' first divisional game of the Run It Back season towards Super Bowl 55. I'm really encouraged. I hope you guys are too. Thanks for watching this one, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.